Something went wrong. Well, that's rude, Rumble. Well, Rumble doesn't want to join us today. That's quite rude of them. Sucks to be them, but thank you everybody who's not on Rumble then, I suppose. Although it says connected on this side, that side says something's wrong. Well, boo-hoo to you. All right, let's get on with it now that I'm not fighting with it. I'm not doing it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Right or Die Show. I am your host, Randi-lee Boslaw. As you can see, if you watched on Sunday, I had bleached my hair. It is now done. Isn't that so beautiful? It's like, and I put the yellow underneath, just like Sandy suggested, right? Got my fire hair going on. I actually really like the way.
Sharp.
Thank you. You can't tell too much, but there's like nice little yellows in there, little flecks of yellow. So I like the way it turned out. I had no idea what I was doing, but I think it was lovely. If you have not already, hit the like and subscribe button. You know we got to talk about that. You got to do it. It's important and it's helpful and yada yada yada. So movie updates. Yes. See, because I'm remembering to say them at the beginning now, it makes life so much easier for me. So movie updates. We are about to launch the Kickstarter for it. Woohoo, yay! So then everybody can, head there and be like, support, woohoo! If you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, where have you been this whole time? So Goodbye Too Soon is going to be becoming a film. So it is about my brother's death by drug overdose. Of course, it is adapted to the big screen because some of it would be very boring to add. So it's an adaptation of it. And guess what? My puppy has a role, so you don't want to miss it. The really sad part is, though, when I wrote the script, I had Freddie, our other puppy, as the puppy role because he's such a good listener. But he has sadly left us, and we cry about that still. So Zen now, we'll see how he does. We're going to have Zen play the puppy role. He is not very Zen. That's just his name. That is not an accurate description of his attitude. But he's very adorable. So stay tuned for more of that. Anywho. Oh, wait. And I should say, we have a couple sponsors already. What? So exciting. I have to make myself a little list and put it down beside now. So, J&L Flooring, they were our first business sponsor. We love them. Yay, they did my entire floor in my house. Yes. So if you are in Niagara Falls, Canada, or in the Niagara region, and you need flooring, call Jack, because he's awesome. I can attest to that because my floors were all done by him, and they are awesome. And then Black Sheep Lounge, which is a local coffee shop here, they are going to provide us coffee, shocking, for our stuff. So yay, thank you to them. And finally, we have a space for our auditions. Ooh, this just came together last night. I'm still working out details, but I want to say a huge thank you to Andrea from, I'm going to say it wrong, but it's Ganga Moon Yoga. She's offered to let us use her yoga space for that. So I'm very excited because I was really stressing out about where the heck I was going to hold auditions. So very excited that that has come to fruition and more details, of course, to follow. Anyways, I'm going to shut up now. Well, for a hot second. Our guest, T.A. Thompson, or better yet known as Hey Guy Over There. I can say that we had jokes before we got started. He's going to introduce himself, and I'm going to shut up for a hot second. So, T.A. Thompson, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
I am excited to have you. So, where are you joining us from?
I am in Michigan. I'm in southeast Michigan.
Oh, that's not far from me. Okay. Because I'm just by Niagara Falls, Canada. So, it's not that far. Yeah, it's not far.
The few-hour drive could be there.
Yeah, exactly. Not far at all.
Could have done this live.
Right? Have you ever visited the falls?
Oh, yeah. A couple times.
Right. Canada side or America side, though? Which side?
Both.
Ooh.
Yeah, went there one time in, what was it, January or February, and it was frozen. That looked really cool.
Yes, that would be the time that I huddle in my house. Although then summer comes, you want to be outside, but then tourists come, so I still want to huddle in my house.
Tourists are the worst. I'll agree.
Right? There's just so many people, and I'm just like, guys, it's running water. It's just running water.
But it's running water from all these directions. You don't get that.
Right? It's cool. I lived here my whole life, so to me, it's just whatever. But I get get for people who've never seen it. It's kind of cool. Like when we were on vacation in Dominican a couple years ago. We went on this like waterfall thing, and I was like, "Oh, that's so pretty! That's so pretty!" It's just running water, but it's so pretty. But we did slide down them. They were like a bunch of mini waterfalls, so we got to slide down them. So it was very exciting.
That's awesome. That sounds like a great time. I did something similar. We did something similar in Portugal and Madeira Island. It's called canyoning. They bring you up to the top, and then you literally walk through the stream, down waterfalls, do a little rappelling for the whole thing. Yeah, it was a blast.
I would love that. That sounds so exciting. So other than loving some cool stuff and living where it's cold, I actually think you guys get colder than I do. It's that lake effect. Tell us a little bit more, right? Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I am a big nerd. Have been for a long time. Love playing Dungeons and Dragons. Love reading. Love writing. I work in the commercial insurance industry, and I have for almost 13 years. The most interesting thing about me is my writing because I can live vicariously through my characters.
Perfect. I love that so much. So I had a brain fart and now it's gone. That's like, I mean, a little bit of who you are, but that was a lot about what you do. Like, in your soul, who are you?
I am a sarcastic, cynical, dark-humored individual who has a hard time socializing, even though I can talk your ear off.
I love that, and yes, samesies. People laugh at me because I've been doing this show for 5 years, talked to lots of people, and I'm like, yeah, but it's one-on-one, and it's my thing, so if I mess up, it doesn't matter because nobody knows if I mess up because I'm the boss. It's very different than actually meeting new people and, like, talking to them.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk to you for hours. I could talk at my job for hours. I just joined a book club, and I think I said 2 sentences the whole 2 hours that I was there. So
that's hilarious. I enjoy that for you. Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna. I just dropped my fidget on the ground, and I'm gonna cry a little bit. Because my dog's gonna pick it up and run away. Where is it? I'll find it. So you're gonna start your story. I'm gonna go on my ground and find it, but I'm listening. So start your story wherever makes the most sense. I know that you said we were going to talk about anxiety and depression. That's what you wrote on your little paper. So take us on this journey.
Sure. So, it's really weird because I had anxiety and depression since I was probably in my early teens. And it was one of those things where I just didn't know it. And I lived with it, and I just thought that was how life was. And I probably didn't recognize what it actually was for another 15 years. So it was a really long trek until I started seeking some type of help for that.
So why did you start seeking help? Oh, I'm just going to randomly ask questions.
No, that's your show, like you said. Because I was just, I was getting angry all the time. I was having problems in my relationship. I was in the middle of getting divorced, and just everything was bottling up, and I didn't know how to deal with it. So I ended up going to my doctor and just vomited all over him about what was going on, and he was just like, "Here's some medication, go away." You know what? And that helped. I mean, that helped, yeah, but it was more like, you just put a Band-Aid on it. And it wasn't until, a few years later where, going into therapy and actually figuring out what the problem was, and more importantly, how to deal with the issues and the anxiety and the depression, where I came up with some really good tools and try to use them every day. Doesn't always work.
Right, tell me about it. Just like I have my fidgets, and it doesn't always work to keep me on track, but sometimes they do. Okay, so I do want to hear about those coping strategies, but first, I kind of made you jump from one part to the other because that's how my brain works. we're going to go back a little bit. So you said as a teenager. So what kind of things were you thinking, feeling like? I kind of get the gist from myself because I look back and I go, wow, I was depressed as a teenager. But like you said, you don't know it. You just think that's how it is.
So I'm going to give you probably one of the more depressing stories of when I
Do it.
was a teenager. Yeah.
Do it.
So in my inability, the big thing was my inability to socialize. Um, we had moved school districts, and I mean,
Oh,
I'm not a cool person. Like I've already explained that. So, there was some bullying going on. I didn't make friends when we moved, things like that. And at the peak of that, on the school bus, I literally had a girl who got stuck sitting next to me because there was no other seats, and she tried to engage me in a conversation.
oh, that was nice of her.
Yeah, I couldn't even look at her. I was looking out the window, wasn't answering her questions. I mean, she probably went home and was like, "What the hell was I just sitting next to on the bus?" You know?
Or on the flip side, only to play devil's advocate, because we never know what somebody else is thinking. She could have went home and went, "What's wrong with me? Why didn't he want to talk to me?"
No, she didn't.
I'm just saying, though, we never know what that person
You're right. I
is
was
thinking
I
or
was putting
feeling.
my negative thoughts and projecting them onto her,
Right?
but I was right.
Well, you might have been, but just in general, I want people to see both sides.
That's fair.
Okay, so she was all like, "Ooh, what I sit next to," and then what happened?
The school bus left, and I think she just turned and started talking to other people, which was for the best because my head was about to explode.
So, have you ever been diagnosed with like autism or something just because
No,
of the social part? No, it's
no, the social part was definitely like
anxiety related.
anxiety and depression related. I mean, I
Yeah.
can go out as much as I used that example of the book club as not necessarily being able to talk to people. I can, and I don't have issues with it if there's like a reason to
Okay.
talk to someone.
Yeah.
And my wife drives her nuts because we'll go to the grocery store and I will talk the cashier's ear off, and they're just rolling their eyes and like trying to get me out of the line as fast as possible. I would think my wife would appreciate that because they're moving it along faster, but
Right? I'd agree. Let's just get out of here, you know? Okay, so that makes sense because anxiety does play a huge part on, how you're going to interact with those around you.
yeah, and that had an impact on the types of jobs that I sought, because having anxiety really devalued my self-esteem. I got a job, and it was a retail job, and I was really good at it. It didn't pay jack. They were taking advantage of me and
Mm,
working me, but I didn't want to leave because I felt valued there, right? And I didn't
mm,
think I was going to be able to go anywhere else and feel valued because I didn't feel value in myself.
yes.
And it took a lot to get me to move to the next job. And that was honestly one of the best things that I could have done because I went into a sales job and I really focused on learning the sales skills, figuring out how to talk to people, figuring out how people ticked, and it helped me come out of that shell and better myself, better my family, better my conversations with people, and work on my communicative skills. It was definitely one of the best things I've ever done from a career standpoint.
Oh, that's good. Just in the moment can be very difficult.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so then we're gonna skip forward to you said, there was a lot of anger kind of going on and going through divorce and, the doctor, here's your band-aid. However, band-aids are sometimes necessary to stop the bleeding so then we can take care of it afterwards. Isn't that a beautiful analogy?
It is. And I don't think I would have been able to take care of it without the band-aid because that, to continue with your analogy, it staunched the bleeding and it allowed me to be able to focus on what the actual issues were as opposed to just focusing on my feelings and how upset I was and just continuing that destructive cycle.
Yeah. I fully agree because I definitely wouldn't have been able to talk to a therapist so honestly, and she's actually been like, "Thank you for being so honest." I'm like, "Well, I'm paying you a lot of money." Right?
Makes me wonder what other people say, because I've had
Right?
mine say that to me too. Well, that was quite honest. What else am I here for?
Right? I'm paying you a lot of money. I'm not wasting that. Come on. But apparently it's common for people to not. So, um, but yeah, I definitely would not have been able to say all the things without my antidepressants because when you feel worthless, why do you think somebody's going to listen to you?
Yeah, yeah. I completely agree with that. And like what I'm saying is an important. I should know how to deal with this. What's wrong with me,
My
and
favorite is I'm broken. That's my favorite thing that my brain likes to tell me.
yeah. I've definitely felt that way before, and I mean everybody's broken in some way, shape, or form. You just have to figure out how to mend it, how to work around those broken parts, whatever you need to do, because there is life after feeling broken. And I'm really glad that I was able to attain that
Hmm.
because um, I never thought that I would. And I really didn't think there was anything different than what I was living. And looking back on it, it was just, it was horrible. Like, how did I live through that? Why did I put up with that from myself?
Hmm.
And just didn't know any better.
Yeah, yeah, I'm right there with you on that one. Okay, so in therapy now, and you said you learned a lot of really good coping strategies that you try to use. So let's hear them. What's your top four? Because people never ask for four. They ask for three. They ask for five. I want four.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's been a few years since I've been in therapy, so I won't be able to like rattle them off verbatim what she
No,
gave
no,
me.
no.
So
But what do
I'm
you
going to tell you what
use?
my coping skills are.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah, so nothing is ever dire to the point where like it's the end of the world. I'm a super melodramatic person, and I've really had to dial that back because that's the lens that I try to look at everything through. And so, when usually, I can't say this, and that it always happens, but usually when something bad happens, I can just take a breath and then try to analyze it and try to keep most of the emotions out of it so that I can actually recognize it for what the situation is and the best way to try to work through it as opposed to just losing my mind over something, which was a common occurrence in the past.
Yeah, my therapist, one of my favorite things they did was something very similar. I would be rattling off, making a mountain out of a molehill, and she goes, "Okay, so where's your evidence?"
Don't
Excuse me,
ask me
what?
for evidence. Don't ask
That
me
yeah,
for
that's not a
evidence,
thing I
please.
have.
I
I
don't want
don't have
evidence.
that.
I want my emotions, damn it.
Right, exactly. So this whole, taking emotions out and analyzing it, that's like, yep, that's very similar. Where's the evidence?
Yep. Yep, that's funny, and it's funny how many issues, especially with anxiety and depression, really just come from not being able to control, process, deal with your emotions.
Yeah.
And another thing that I worked on, communication skills, and
Oh,
as silly
shocking.
as
I would
that
have thought
sounds,
that.
yeah, I know, in therapy, but the whole thing with communication is you have to take the emotion out of it. It's
Mm,
all around those emotions. If you start communicating from an emotional standpoint, you might as well just torpedo yourself
yeah.
because that's what you've done. Um, and along those lines, like in that vein, I've had to learn to realize when I'm in a communicative situation that is going sideways and I need to take a step back from it and push pause on it because the emotions are going high or I'm not wording something properly or I may just need to process what the other person said before I can respond to it, off the cuff, because what they said is quite important, and I never looked at it that way, and I have to work through it. Um, and a lot of people just want to have a conversation and be done with it. I am one of those people, but I have learned that you can't always do that because of that paradigm shift that you hit when you hear it from someone else's point of view.
Hmm. And that's, I mean, as you're talking, I'm thinking about text messages because there's technically no emotion in them, but when you read it with whatever emotion you are assuming. And so that's when a huge shift. So, I mean, when you take emotion out and you read a message just as a message, then you're good. Unless my husband ever says we need to talk, then there's all sorts of emotions. Actually, he
Well,
just likes to
yeah.
do that because it bothers me.
Well, when he sends you that text, he just got fired from his job. His girlfriend's pregnant. There's a
Right.
meteor coming. He got hit
His,
by a car.
his cat ran away. The
Yeah.
goldfish jumped into a well. The truck
The
ran
cat
off.
ate
Yeah,
the
yeah.
goldfish and then ran away. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
all the things. Even
Yep.
though he says it again just to bug me, and then he'll be like, "Oh, I got us tickets to something." I'm like, "You didn't have to say it so dramatically." He's like, "I didn't." I go, "It's true, you didn't, but you did because you know me."
I do that too.
I think
I
men
like
just
to
like
push
to
my
bother.
wife's buttons, yes.
I think men
and
just like to do that in general, and you suck.
yeah, I would agree with you completely. Like the whole the boy who cried wolf story,
Oh yes.
right here. So I got it. I think I owe you a fourth one, don't I?
You do.
All right. Communication, recognizing the emotions. I think giving myself some grace was probably another good coping skill.
It's
I'm
very
not
common.
perfect. Yeah, I'm not perfect. I'm never going to be perfect. I just need to do the best that I can and not expect that perfection. And you know what? Even doing the best that I can, it's not always going to be great.
Yeah.
But I need to recognize that I can learn from that and hopefully do it better the next time if there is a next time. Grace is a really big thing that I have a very hard time with because having anxiety, I'm my own worst critic. Everything is wrong.
Right.
Everything I do is wrong. So
Yeah. Can't you just be
I
right?
still yeah. I still have a very, very hard time with that.
I've started saying at work just as a joke. I'm like, I'm only 99% perfect. Right? Because when I even today I found one of it was something I made a mistake and I'm like, ah crap, and I made a mistake and I'll fix it, whatever. I'm like, it's because I'm only 99% perfect.
But there was a lot
However-
of eye rolling, right?
Oh, they all just laugh at me. I've been working there now for 5 years. They know me quite well by this point. But it's funny that you say the perfectionism. So today when I was journaling, yep, I've been doing it now for 2 weeks. It's amazing.
That's
'Cause
awesome.
I was saying that I suck at journaling, and I still feel that way. But I've been doing it, guys. I've been doing it. But today I was writing down my defects, and one of them, perfectionism, and I'm like, yeah. But only 99% perfect. But perfectionism is what I strive for, and that's not a good thing because I could never, nobody can be perfect. It's not possible.
I will agree with you, but I think some people expect it from you, and it's unfair.
Yeah. So growing up, this is part of why my perfectionism runs so deep. I've been I'm a pretty intelligent person. And so growing up, I would, bring home your test, right? You're in elementary school. Oh, yeah, I got an A on my test. But, it was 90%. So my mom would go, well, why isn't it 95? I'm going to try harder. Bring home the test, it's 95%. Well, why isn't it 97%? Okay, bring home the test, it's even more. Well, why isn't it 100%? So literally, there's just no pleasing you ever, no matter how hard I try. And then the older I got, so I have a cousin, she's 10 years older than me. We're the only two females on my mom's side. And so she went to university. She got scholarships for it and stuff. And she went to university. And she, went for her master's and all that stuff. She's incredibly smart, does something with, researching diseases and stuff. She was telling me about COVID research and stuff. I'm like, oh, no, that's out of my realm. But so very, very smart person. And so as a teenager, when, I'm super depressed and already hating myself, my mom would go, well, your cousin did fill in the blank. Cool. I'm not her.
Mom, let me introduce you to my baseball bat.
Right? So it took a lot. I talked about that in therapy. I probably need more therapy around that specific thing. But that was, when I look back and go, where did this perfectionism come from? And I'm sure it came from other stuff, but my mom played a very, very obnoxiously large role in that.
So when you start thinking, oh, this isn't done right, do you immediately like picture her face and her telling you that? Because I have someone that I picture telling me I didn't do it right.
So I'm not great at picturing faces, but yeah, there's that tone of voice, and my mom likes to make this noise. She goes, ugh. So I'll hear that, ugh, ugh, ugh. I'm just like, oh, get out of my head. So yeah.
I relate, and I'm sorry.
Right? It sucks, doesn't it?
Yes,
A lot.
very much
Yeah.
so.
So yay, you gave me a 4. I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So obviously you're doing much better now.
Yes.
So how long ago was it that you first started therapy? Like when you first walked in the door and went, I'm broken, fix me.
Ooh. Because I've been several times.
I think we tend to do that. We kind of go and then we're like, oh, we're good for a while. Then we go back. Then we're good for a while.
If I had to put a number on it, I would say 10 years ago.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, I think mine was about that. I went in about my mid-20s or so to start, and then, yeah, just sort of an on and off thing when I need to.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to do it, because sometimes, if you're going there and you're paying a lot of money and you're just like, how was your week? I went to a ball game, right? Because there's nothing to talk about. You almost start dreading it, but when you actually have something to talk about, you're going to make process, you want to go.
Exactly, yeah. So, and that's what I like, is that it's not necessarily a forever thing, and it's not necessarily. My dogs are playing. I'm just gonna shut my door, and hopefully it dims it a little bit. The barking. She's very loud. She's a beagle. She's a beagle bagel.
They never stop talking, do they?
They do not. So she's a beagle bagel. She is not the one that I have cast in the movie just because she is so crazy. And Zen is a husky shepherd, so he also never stops talking. So it's a great combination.
He should listen a little better, though. I think.
He does. He listens much better. He just likes to talk. He likes to take his toys and put them under the couch and then bark at us at like 8 o'clock at night. So we have to get up and move the couch for him. It's his game. He loves it. Yeah. Good
luck.
Mm-hmm. He turns 4 this year. He's a very cute boy. You'll see him in the movie. Now I lost track of my life. That happens a lot. But so therapy, it's great because you can go when you need it. And I know some people that are like, oh, I've never been diagnosed with anything, but yeah, I go to a therapist every now and again. Because even without a diagnosed issue, we all have issues. They just might not
have a brain. And our brains need to be, exercised and evaluated at times too.
Right,
so
exactly.
Just because you don't have any diagnosed issues, 1, doesn't mean you don't have any, and 2, doesn't
right.
mean that you don't need to, just talk to someone about it. Because part of it isn't even necessarily you have to have any issues. Like I said, one of the best things I learned was communicative skills. Like my wife and I talk together each other so much better now.
Yeah.
And I really attribute it to going to therapy. Part of it was individual, part of it was couples. It took a lot of work, but I love where we're at right now.
That is fantastic to hear. Yeah, you have a brain, you said it, and it made me think of, well, you don't necessarily always go to the doctor just because you have an issue, right? Your regular physical that you should go to, even though I know a lot of people that don't, but your regular physical is literally just a regular checkup. It's the same thing with just going kind of to the therapist, check in on the mental part of your life. And for females listening, do not put off going for your annual whatever. I don't know if they do it annual, but anyways, your regular female checkup, because when you put that off, then you end up with cancer and you lose all your parts, and then it's really sad. It's almost like I had that from experience. So that is my PSA for the world, for the women out there, and everyone who loves the woman in their life. Tell them to make sure that they go and get that done.
Very important.
It is. Okay, so what piece of wisdom would you say to somebody who is, I always make up a random character, So what would you say to them who is like, and I don't really have an issue, but like, I'm feeling really stressed right now. What's your piece of wisdom?
I mean, there could be lots of
It's
wisdom to
very
give out
broad.
there.
I
Yeah,
know.
it is. Um, my best one that no one would listen to would be go to a therapist. They're amazing. And even though your one issue might be stress, you have to figure out where that stress is coming from. And man, they can peel back that onion. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. There were issues that I didn't even know that I had that we
Right.
worked through, and I just felt so much better after the fact. Um, the other thing is don't lie to yourself because we all do that
I
all the
love that.
time, and that can cause a lot of stress. And what it does is it causes blind spots in your thinking because you're trying to hide things from yourself, and then you can't see the stressors even though they're right in front of you because you're hiding them from yourself. There, I gave you two.
I love that. And actually, I wrote down the don't lie to yourself. I have a list of quotes from people that will eventually be turned into a book with like pretty pictures of nature and stuff because I love nature. And don't
That's
lie to
awesome.
yourself. That's your quote.
All right. Glad I made the list.
You did. I like that one. I mean, you said other things, but that's the one that I gravitate to for that type of thing. All right. Well, now is the time. Remember how I was like, "I'll help you shamelessly self-promote yourself?"
Yes, and I was
This
like,
is how
please
I do.
no.
Right? He's like, I'm not really great at that. I'm just here for the conversation. I'm like, that's
Yes.
cool. I'll just do it for you. So I'm gonna do it for him real quick here. So T.A. Thompson has some things that he wants to tell us about what we should look for when we're Googling his name. What is new and happening in your life?
Well, I published a book in April. It's called The Mark, and it is an adult, I like to stress that, an adult bio-dystopian post-apocalyptic thriller.
Why would
Um,
you make that like what makes it that distinction?
because I found that a lot of those post-apocalyptic dystopian books are more in the young adult range,
Hmm.
and you'll probably send me hate mail if you let your young adult read this book.
So is it like the language or specific
Language, there's a little bit
content?
of sex, tons of violence.
Okay.
It's nobody's off limits for getting hacked apart. So
Okay, okay. Just
yeah,
got we got to know what we're getting into. So I
yeah.
like that
The
because
main
it's
character.
true. I was
What's that?
thinking when you said that, I'm like, yeah, all pretty much all the dystopian. It's like youth or young adults even. I'm like, yeah, you don't see adults on there, 18 plus.
No, and that's because they have a wider audience if they do that, right? They can
It's
sell
true.
more
It's
books
true.
that way. I wrote it for myself, and I'm not a young adult, so the things that I enjoy and things that made me laugh, things that made me cringe or whatnot, you know,
Yeah.
that's what went into that.
Yeah.
And I definitely read adult books, and it's in the adult vein, so I always like to stress that.
Perfect. That is excellent. Okay, so again, it's that dystopian. So what is happening in this world ish, so that we have an idea of what we're getting
Sure.
into.
So the main character is the oldest person in the world at
Oh.
25 years old. And most people only live to 22. And then they have something happens to them where they just drop dead. And it was caused, 500 years in the future. Someone thought the human race was a bunch of parasites sucking the earth dry. So they engineered something to kill everyone at a certain age. So with
Fun.
that, yeah, I know. With that
I'd be
goes,
I'd be dead already.
me a couple times, so I get it. So with that, you lose all the wisdom and experience of anyone over the age of 22. So there goes engineers, people who can run a power plant, people
I
who
just want to
can't.
point out that you just said us old people have lots of wisdom, which means you young
Yes,
people should listen to us.
but they won't because their brains aren't fully developed and they
I
can't figure
know.
that
I
out.
just want to point out the fact that they should.
Yeah, they're not listening. They're watching TikTok.
Hey, we're on TikTok eventually. I'm going to cut out little clips and put them in. So you never know. They might stop and be like, "Oh, that girl's hair is really cool. I'm going to listen to what she says." And they'll be like, "That's some great wisdom right
Well,
there."
make sure you put that on there where I said they're not listening. They're on TikTok. That would be a great little clip. Um, so so then you jump forward 500 years and you have societies that are trying to figure out how to just survive when nobody really gets beyond that young adult stage. So they have to have kids, they have to try to grow crops and feed themselves and deal with outsiders and all of these things. Where manufacturing is shut down, hospitals don't exist anymore. There's no police force, there's no fire force, other than what they have now created again as they've tried to build up their society. And I was able, this is one of the things that I just love about it, is I was able to take, 5 different cities essentially and make completely different civilizations out of them because they're isolationists. So you have Livingston, where Alexander's from, and they're more of like a republic. And then you have New Sparta, and they're authoritarianist because you have the king who's at the top of it. And then you have Huron, who they are all just they're an actual democracy where everybody votes for everything. And then you have your raider groups. So it was fun to just play with those different things, and instead of just saying like everybody's cookie cutter the same,
right? That's no
different
fun.
government styles, and just see how they all worked and played together, and how she was going to have to navigate through all of those.
I love that. And what's it actually called?
It's called The Mark.
And I know you said that at the beginning, but remember, nobody
that's
listens.
Exactly. and that stems because once the people start turning 21, it's a ceremony every summer solstice where they get another year of age. Everybody has the same birthday, and then they brand their hand, and then they can say, I have 1 mark, I have 2, and it's to distinguish their age and their wisdom and their experience, and be an easy way to show that off, to distinguish themselves.
That's a very interesting little part of it.
Yeah, I wanted something that was kind of unique to that and played off the whole age issue, because with Alexandra being 25, she has 5 marks, and nobody's ever seen that.
Yeah.
And like they're having a really hard time with that diagonal tally mark going across her hand. What is this? So it was a lot of fun playing on that whole thing and just trying to come up with different aspects of what culture would be like and what they would have taken on to show experience and age and
that is neat.
authority. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And where do we get this book?
Like every other book in the world, it is on Amazon. Just look
Shocking.
up The Mark. I know. The Mark, T.A. Thompson. Make sure you put in the T.A. Thompson or you will get the wrong book. I should have done a little more research before I titled it, but it's fitting. I wouldn't have changed it.
Well, sometimes a name just it fits too well. So
there's only so many words in the human language, right? So
exactly.
Eventually you're going to start repeating names of books.
It's just how it is.
Yeah. Yep.
What are you going to do? Call it Mark, though?
If you're at the library, it would say that, wouldn't it?
Right, exactly. It's fine, it's fine. And where are people going to follow you?
Yes, so you can go to my website. It is tathompsonwriter.com. And then I'm also on Facebook. It's t.a.thompson. And then I'm trying to figure out Instagram. I'm old people. Trying to figure out Instagram, and that's also t.a.thompson.
Instagram's not too bad because it's hooked to Facebook, so it's not horrible.
When I created my Instagram account and my Facebook account for the writing profile, it gave me the hardest time. And I actually ended up with 2 Instagram accounts, one that I access through my computer and one that I access through my phone. And I can't get rid of the one on my phone to then pull the one from the computer in. And the computer is the one where I put all the stuff. So for a while,
you just need
I
to
was
find a
just
youngin' to help you.
Yeah. Somebody, anybody, please reach out. I would love to have the help, and I will not pay you.
Hey, as long as you're upfront about the fact that they are volunteering their time, it's a much nicer way to say it. They're volunteering their time.
Yes, you are volunteering your time
to help an old person.
I will not pay you.
Well, before we say goodbye, is there anything else that you feel the need to say?
That I loved being on this show. I love that it is about mental health awareness. I haven't really talked about a lot of those things definitely not with the general public. So I hope that I was able to help someone.
And I'm sure you did. So thank you everybody for tuning in. And remember, if you have any comments, questions, throw them down below because we can always catch up and chat again and fill you all in. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already, but you should have already. But just in case, then do it. But more importantly, share these episodes out, right? We're talking about very serious stuff, but we're having fun. Because really, life is far too short to stress about it all. And then again, I will be making sure to update everybody about the movie stuff. The Kickstarter is coming soon, so please help. It's just a really small budget that I'm hoping to get, and then if we get bigger than that small budget, then it just becomes a better movie. But I have a really string tight budget right now, so it's my plea to the world. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly.